Hello Spartans and welcome back to another video. That is not my intro, let's try that again. Hey, it's Dad. We're going to be talking about the new Doom update today. So there's someone who sent me a picture in Discord with this new update that came out, and it says Mars Core top stage 12 out of 50. Now this is interesting because this must have been added to the files. Maybe this is going to be the next level we can play, but I can't access it, so I don't know what's going on exactly. There are 50 stages, it said, and there was a bug that was called about recently that said, oh, there's 50 stages, get the rewards for that. And then we were like, no, it's just a bug. So maybe it's a real thing, I don't know. I thought it was interesting how this came about and everything around it. Now the big thing I want to talk about today is not that speculation, but as the old TikTok meme goes, because I've been watching Adam and the Metalhawks do this, he just says, I'm getting ripped tonight, RIP that Flame Belch. Yeah, so here's the thing, I hit 500k with this thing the other day, with one tick, times 3 ticks on this Flame Belch is 1.5 million damage in the matter of seconds on the Cybermancubus. So was this necessary to be nerfed? Why? How did they change the mechanics of this? Yeah, okay, I'm a Flame Belch simp, I know, I'll admit it, but it was necessary to be nerfed because you do 1.5 million damage on the boss like that. The way Flame Belch used to work is that it scaled up, so the further you were in the stages in your chapter, the more damage it would do with that enemy health, is the way I took it. The further chapter you were in, so if you were in UAC facility, it would do more damage than Necrovol. So I'm at like the final chapter, the final stage of the game, so it's naturally going to be doing a lot of damage. It's not meant to be that way. It says 4,900 damage for the epic on the screen in the stats, and it does a little under 5,000 per tick now. So you're looking at, hundreds of thousands down to 5,000. And I can verify it went up in stages because I hit 300k once in UAC facility, if that's what that was. This is with the UAC gear buff of 5 seconds, you get like all the boosty damage. It's double what the other counterpart is on the regular demonic or exhaustion. So they brought it down, they nerfed it, it was clearly not intended to be this powerful. And when you went into Reddit, when I would go in these posts, I talked to people on Discord, which you should join, we'll give you some free tips for the game and strats. People would be like, what launcher should I use? People would be like acid or whatever, and I come in, nope, flame, you gotta use Flame Belch right now. And then everybody else is starting like, no, use flame. And it's because it outclassed the launchers so much in a way that nobody wanted to use anything else. And how do you blame them when you're pulling over 1 million damage on the final boss, 1.5? That begins to be a problem. That just throws the balance out. It makes it the best in slot with no other differences. You don't have the slow of the ice that you consider. You don't have the damage. So what do we do now that Flame is nerfed and it's not that great anymore? Well, we'll get to that here in just a second. Now, actually, it's been a second, so let's do that. So what do we do? Where do we go? What's the meta going to be turning into strat-wise, build-wise? Alright, so you have Ice as one other option. It slows enemies down, it's nice, it sucks when it's used against you because it's really freaking slow, so it's pretty good for the enemies. I see the value in that. The damage, whatever, I don't know what it is off the top of my head, but it's fine. I don't think Ice will be the meta, it never has been. It'll be funny because opposite of Fire, so you can use it if you want to. Clearly, if you have an epic of something, you should be using that, or if you have a rare, you should prioritize that for what you use. I don't think Ice will be Arc Grenade. That's pretty good. It's a 30% debuff on their offense, not that great damage. If you're attacking a new chapter, I can see it being used by people, especially if it's, one of their better ones. I can definitely see it making some work. I don't think it'll be the primary meta for that. Frag now comes into play, does like 25k without any upgrades for the epic 80 base, no upgrades. That might come into play. It's got a pretty good range. You can shoot it across the map. You can semi-AFK with it. There's utility. Back when we had Flame Belch as OP, it didn't it was outclassed in all shapes, sizes, and whatever. So yeah, Frag might make a comeback there. Flame, of course, not going to be used as much. I've heard the burn time. Jim Owen in the Discord talked about the burn time, like enemies would burn out but not die or something. It's just a rough thing to see. Super Shotgun seemed to have some changes as well from what people were saying. Now I think the meta is shifting to Acid Spit because every launcher shoots 7 seconds. That's how long it takes to shoot, okay? Acid Spit gives you a 10% debuff from level 1. So you don't even have to level it to epic 80. You can do level 1 and just stick it in the slot. That's what she said. And then all you have to do is just use it. It lasts 5 seconds for the debuff, okay? If you get the upgrade, it lasts 7 seconds. I just made that joke. I gotta stop. And it lasts 7 seconds if you do that. So naturally, you're gonna have 10%. The more damage you do, the more debuff you're gonna get, like the actual damage. So if you're a high power player, you got a super strong weapon, you'll benefit the most from Acid Spit because of that 10% of 100,000 is more than 10% of 1,000. If you do like bare bones speedruns where you do level 1 commons, you'll still benefit from it too. But this Cyber Mancubus will not have 500k on it, but it will have a lot of damage. Acid's very good. It shoots across the arena. I've seen reports of it shooting different directions than enemies. Haven't seen it myself yet. It doesn't, I've already tested this out. All right, new Flame Belch, bosses feel tankier. They feel like they die slower. I can't just run up to them anymore and just melt their health. See that huge chunk fall off on top of what else I'm doing with the heavy cannon, right? So I get the change. Man, I don't even know if it needs to be this severe. Just something had to happen. I admit it did. We all probably should admit that it did, but not this far back. No buff or nothing on it. And one thing I want to know too, when we look at this flame and all that, it's a close range, frag is far. If you're getting in close to the enemies, you probably should have a good risk reward, like Blood Punch and Eternal. Because you get close, you have that stronger benefit. So Flame needs a little bit of a buff, yes. You can't just trust the stats on the screen because the Ballista has a tiny damage number on the screen. It doesn't count its explosive radius damage as well. That's where I think we're at with this and the meta. Acid's going to be at the top again. I see it. Other people see it too. It's probably be the direction that we go. If you go overkill with Acid, that's another thing. If you like are farming levels and you just blast through and it doesn't have any chance to run, well, same thing with any of the other launchers as well. Let's talk about the tactile changes, the haptic and the screen shake. Now, the levels seem to be a little wider now. I do want to show you some things also as you keep looking on the screen for the gameplay. This is different. When you load the game up, your screen shakes on glory kills when you hit the ground at the start, when you push through the green pillars in the wall or whatever. And your phone does a little bzz bzz with it as well. Now this turns on automatically. It's cool because it gives you an immersion in the game. It changes things up. We never had this before. Neato, right? At some point it's kind of like, okay, I don't want it anymore. So you go to turn it off. And then when you exit the game, you come back in, it defaults back to on. So hopefully it'll stick with the same thing that you left it with. Like the Twitter For You page, right? That actually just stuck with that page and people didn't like it, so they fixed it. And voila, we are done with that. And it's not like a huge loud vibration if you're playing in class or work or something. It's not like that's just a little tiny little buzz in your hands, which is fine. Now the little tentacles, whenever no enemies are around, they'll pop out of the ground, which is cool because then you don't have to wait for them just turtling up like that. You can go ahead and get them. And also they have a glory kill animation, which adds to your glory kill for the samurai and all that stuff, which is pretty cool. It's a nice change to have. The later levels don't really have tentacles in them, so you don't really get to make use of them with the everything that's in them. Now the Mars core, if this is the truth, we already have event music, we already have that available. Tentacles will probably be there. We don't have any giant tentacle issues because it's a boss, but that's what we have with the regular tentacles. A couple other little changes. Bosses have big bones when they die, and some other stuff that people are finding out. They think super shotgun damage is different with the incendiary, probably the same case with the Flame Belch. I don't think it's doing any extra damage in stage 10 like I've seen a claim on Reddit before, but we'll have to test it out. We'll have to see. I think it's the same. Check out the 13 worst mistakes a beginner can make in this game, and then come to the Discord to get some strats and help. I'm in there every single day. Thank you for watching.